All right, hello everybody. How's it going? Hopefully levels are all good. I don't know. Looks like it. We're actually going to talk about whiskey tonight. Unlike last time, I can almost taste a little bit, so we can do that. All right. Okay. Cool. Couple little tech things there, but nothing too major. So what are we doing tonight? We are gonna do some whiskeys from 2020. Some things we worked on, things I had this year for the first time, good and bad. I don't have all the ones I don't like here. I didn't choose to buy full bottles of the ones I didn't like. Seemed like a better choice for me, but we are gonna talk a little bit about whiskeys for the first time this year for sure. And those of you in the chat can chime in with ones you had for the first time this year. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what that looks like for all of you out there. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, I have... tech to be techie. Okay. I think we're good now. Yeah. Okay. Better. Cool. So feel free to chime in if you have any questions, comments, or if you've got a whiskey that you tried for the first time this year you really liked. I have a lot. I have a lot of whiskeys that I had the first time this year, whether they were, little ones. I'm a big fan of when I see these little overpriced 3 or 4 packs of these miniature bottles I haven't had before. I'm picking those up. It's a good way to experience a drink without having to commit to a full-size bottle. So I have some of those. I have some full-size ones I want to talk about, but I think it'll be good. First up, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't decide exactly which ones I wanted to talk about. I figured we'd see how it went. But first up, this is the first one I could reach. This Maker's 101 is a 2020 release. And this was the first, so obviously it's the first time I had it. And it's was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It is really nice to be able to smell a little bit again. But it is nice. Still gonna struggle with notes. I'm still not quite there yet. But this was very much so just like straight up Makers, but a little bit hotter. So if you don't like Makers, you wouldn't like this. It's very sweet and caramelly. Lots of vanilla. It's vanilla like artificial vanilla flavor, like the way vanilla icing tastes, like the thick vanilla icing. Like the store made cakes. It's fine though. It's also like a $30 bottle. It's not expensive. It's for that price, it's fine. It's definitely like, I don't feel bad about buying it. And it's really sweet and a little high proof, so it does hold up to like food or a cigar pretty well. This is kind of also the same subject as tomorrow's episode, although I did end up recording that ahead of time. I'm not going to spoil the episode too much tonight, but I did kind of I covered this, retrospective of what I thought of Whiskey 2020 and what I was kind of hoping to see, not just straight whiskey, but in the whiskey area, my involvement in whiskey in the coming year. But I need to just move this laptop a little bit closer so I don't have to duck to do it. Gonna take me a little while to use this. The chat on this program runs to everywhere that it's streaming, and you can select where you're typing. I'm gonna mess that up a lot. I'm gonna respond to people on the wrong platform a lot. All right, cool. Well, that was that. Like I said, it's not a disappointing one. It's just not an amazing one. It's definitely a, maybe it is a little disappointing. I think for a limited release that they like kind of marketed that way, it's a little bit of flat. It's a little bit too much like the regular. I have a few bottles that are this year releases that I didn't even open. I will tell you, I will talk about one of my favorite this year experiences. Oh, that's not the one. I got a couple glasses here. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, Steph. I painstakingly scrolled through like 200 pages of royalty-free synthwave to find a few tracks I liked. It's exactly what I was going for. One of these songs is called hold on, let me pull it up. I gotta look at the title. It is called Generic 80s Step Workout Soundtrack, which I think is perfect. It's actually this one. It's the one that's playing right now. Steph, is it loud? Is the music mix too high, or is it good where it is? I want you to be able to hear it, but I don't want it to be drowning me out. No montage tonight, but maybe some night. Albert could probably talk me into doing a montage. I'm pretty sure he could talk me into doing it. Maybe I'll shoot and edit a solid montage and put it up on the YouTube and Twitch. So this is probably, if not my favorite, definitely a top 2 or 3. First time I tried them this year. It still doesn't break my favorite whiskey of all time, but might be my favorite first time experience this year. And this is Longmorn 16. And this I've actually had floating around here for a little bit, but hadn't opened until last week. This current week anyway. This is like has a reputation of being like the distiller's choice kind of whiskey. You know, like you have like I've heard it referred to like that, like you would hear like a comedian's comic or an actor's actor. You know, this is one of those whiskeys, and it is like so richly butterscotch and floral. It's got a little, I don't know if I would say that much. It's got like a little bit of barrel spice in there. It's got kind of like a black peppery kind of barrel spice at the end. There's probably a lot more going on in there that I can't pick up yet, but even just what's there, it's like almost like a candy. It's not super overly sweet though. It just has the right notes. Caramel like I'd say more butterscotch, but caramel for sure. Caramel. Borderline Werthersy. It's no heat on it either. A little bit of barrel spice, but the ethanol doesn't hit. I'm gonna keep letting this go out because I'm distracted by the stream. Oh, it's like a third out. Let there be fire. If you can find Longmorn 16, you would definitely love it. It's a little hard to find. They've gone through some like kind of drastic upscaling in the amount of demand there is for the product lately, and I feel like that has made it harder to find. Right, me too. I just put in for my birthday, I got a air purifier down here that does a pretty good job of cutting the smoke out, so I can smoke down here and it doesn't stink the next day. I don't know if you can hear it running in the background or not. I don't think it's showing up. I've got a 4 Kicks black belt. I love these. These are real peppery. These are real strong. Beautiful. All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna step right off camera right here for a second and adjust something. Thank you for your patience. I feel like the background music helps with the not being able to hear that thing at all. I just moved a fan a little bit. So I don't know if that'll pick up or not, but hopefully not. Did you guys end up having that Gentleman Jack the other night? Man, that Longmorn is really, really delicious. No, you didn't? Damn it, I was hoping you did. I was curious what you thought of it. Oh, I still have some of this left. It's a little floral. It's got a bit of a flowery thing going on. More in the nose, but it's definitely there. Rinse this out a little bit. There's a lot of flavors floating around in here now. Whoa. Sorry, I forgot to tweet the dang link for this. And I just remembered, so I'm doing that real quick. Okay. Okay, beautiful, done. All done. So others from this year. I mean, I had a lot of them this year. My least favorite of the year, second least favorite, was that old tub from the last show. I am not gonna pour any of that. I can taste again, so. That already made its one stream appearance. We're good. This was a first for me this year, the barrel strength or barrel proof version of the James E. Pepper Rye. This is a little more than that. This is a really nice rye. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, distilled in Indiana, aged over 3 years. Yeah, this is an MGP. That's an MGP whiskey, so that's sourced. That's, I believe, if I remember correctly, that is the MGP 95% rye mash bill, which is in like everything. So many ryes are that mash bill from MGP, but where you age them and what you do to them makes a difference. This is really good though. This is a really solid barrel strength rye. It's more oily and creamy than a lot of ryes. I am falling more in like, not love, but more in like with ryes this year than I have been in the past. But I still find the ryes that are heavy on like the dill notes just unappealing. I don't like those. I'm getting more used to that note though. Like that note doesn't bother me. It used to really bother me. I used to like I couldn't get past the dill note. It was all I smelled. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Try not to blow it directly into the microphone. I did put an arm that'll actually stay put. Oh yeah, dill. A lot of ryes have a really strong dill note to them. I love dill pickles. I do not like drinking dill whiskey. It's tough for me. Although, like I said, I am getting more used to it. It is getting easier to take. Turn that down a little. My headphones are up way too loud. I was getting a headache listening to myself. I don't know how y'all are doing it. Yeah, but so this is a good rye. This is more so in baking spices and little like zesty, a little like citrus zest, gingery, maybe a little orange peel. It's much more pleasant. There is some dill. Baking spices is like nutmeg or, you know, like things you would put in baked goods. It's like that spice group encompassed instead of just tasting all nutmeg. It's like a blend of kind of like an allspice or, you know, like the easiest way to get to it is if like you have a rye bread and you've got like that like kind of not hot spicy, but seasoning spicy, kind of flavor to it. I guess that's the easy way to put it. Is it's like seasonings, you know, like, baking spices generic, so you don't necessarily, it can be different from whiskey to whiskey. So like sometimes you say baking spices, you might get more like, oh, I'm picking up some like herbal spices, or you might have more like black pepper and nutmeg, cinnamon, you know, baking spices you bake with, you know. If I typically say baking spices when there's not one standout, like if I have it and there's a ton of cinnamon or like it's very nutmeggy, I'll say cinnamon or nutmeg. But when there's not one flavor of that group that really stands out, but you get kind of that general heavy seasoning kind of flavor. Yeah, it's a catch-all. It's when you have like, it tastes seasoning-y, but not a lot like one seasoning. If you catch my drift. If I've explained that not too convoluted. Because you will have whiskeys where like it's just super dominant cinnamon, or like just a I know I'm not good at it. I'm working on it. Like you'll get some whiskeys where it's like super dominant cinnamon, or you'll have like just a ton of nutmeg, or what's another one that shows up really strong sometimes? You get whiskeys where there's just a ton of black pepper. That'll give you like a tingle. Yeah, maple shows up. Brown sugar is one that's really common in bourbons. You get a lot of bourbons that are just like brown sugar and butter in a way that almost tastes like apple crisp sludge. What's one that off the top of my head that's super brown sugary? That Kentucky Spirit is super cherry. Oh yeah, it's all over there though. Yeah, YouTube is usually further behind than Twitch. I don't know how to fix that. The Jack Daniels, I have it on the wall over there. The Jack Daniels single barrel proof has a lot of brown sugar or cinnamon in it. Buffalo Trace is pretty heavy on brown sugar and cinnamon. It's not nearly as intense. This is... I have a regular bottle here too. This is a store pick Buffalo Trace. I'm pretty sure the store pick was more cherry than the regular. I think the regular is like no cherry at all, and the store pick had cherry in it. I don't remember though. It's been a while. This smells like butter and brown sugar. And apples. This is appley. There's a little bit of cherry on the nose, but not much. There's no cherry in the regular Buffalo Trace. Yeah, there's a little of this. In the regular release Buffalo Trace, there's no cherry at all. Cherry is really common in bourbon, and that's like one of the things it doesn't have. It's a weird omittance for Buffalo Trace. I actually kind of like that it's not in there. What's up, Ben? How's it going, man? This store pick, though, does have some cherry on it. A little bit. I think that cherry is actually kind of strong on this one, the store pick, if I remember correctly, but I'm still dealing with like taste level 4.5 out of 10, so it's tough. I think it's definitely there though. It's another really strong. Oh, if you like cherry, Steph, cherry, Wild Turkey 101. Wild Turkey 101 might be the most affordable, heavily cherried quality bourbon there is. This is almost... It's almost like cherry cough syrup. There's so I do not like just standard wild turkey, the regular one. It tastes really watery to me. The 101 is it's sort of like the regular wild turkey, but like condensed, dramatically condensed. Tire proof. I think wild turkey is 80 proof and this is 101 proof. And there's so much cherry in it. Like I can hardly taste, and I can taste cherries for days in this. I almost can't smell it though. It's getting there. Maybe I can reset my nose a little bit and smell more. It's there. A little bit. It's out again. I'm bad at this. There's too much going on at once. Luckily, I have a lighter. All right, you guys have fun, all right? Thanks for stopping by. Oh, thank you. It looks really nice in this corner, but my point of view is a giant mess. You just can't tell. It's like lawn furniture and a half a squat rack. It's all right. Only matters what you guys can see. It's very strange because I have Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook all up here at the same time. And the chat delay is different on every platform. So there's like 3 out of time conversations happening. I'll have to work on that. If there's anything to be done about it. Um, 2020 whiskeys. Back to sort of on subject. I got distracted. Another one that you can tell I liked, as it is almost gone, that I had for the first time this year is the Joseph A. Magnus triple finished Kentucky bourbon. I think it says Kentucky, right? No, it just says straight bourbon. So it is Joseph A. Magnus straight bourbon whiskey finished in sherry and cognac cask. Ooh. Moderation. I want to say episode 3 of the show was on this one. And this was the first year I've ever even seen this. I really want to try the Magnus cigar blend, cigar malt, whatever that is called. But I haven't seen that in person yet. This is really good though. This is so much, there is so much like dried fruit and like orange peel and like raisin in this. I mean, you can taste, so this is like 9-year-old bourbon finished, split into like thirds volume wise, and then finished in 3 different casks, a cognac cask, a Pedro Jimenez sherry cask, and an Oloroso sherry cask. And then they take the 3 finished whiskeys and marry them together again and then bottle it. And it has so much influence from all that finishing. The cognac especially shows up. It's like got a very strong, dry fruit note to it. It's really good. It's definitely the one that like a top 3 new to me this year. Oh, it's really good. Even with my scent being kind of messed up, the nose on it is so pretty. So good. It's funny how different that cigar tastes, drastically different between each whiskey. The influence of the whiskey really showing up on that. Let's see if I can try to do this without making a mess. Not very well. Gotta try a little bit, switch glasses. I have multiple glasses, I might as well use them, right? If anybody has any questions about new to you, new to me, new to you, or actually anything in general, if anybody has any questions about whiskey period in general, there's no reason this needs to stay on format. Whatever. I figured I'd pick a topic to talk about in case nobody said anything the whole time and I had to just fill all this dead air, but there's a few of you in chat, so feel free to pipe in with whatever and I will run with it as we go. I'm going to actually veer slightly off 2020 firsts and have my very first 2021 first. I have to open it though, so you have to bear with me while I open this. This is, I think, I don't know if it's Calumet or Calumet. I don't know how you say it. This is Calumet 14-year-old single rack black Kentucky straight bourbon. Rack number S3319.07. Barrel size for this batch is 19 barrels. Barreled in March 06, bottled, I think it said April 2020, somewhere in there. Non-chill filtered, natural color, obviously it's bourbon, they have to. 74% corn, 18% rye, 8% malted barley. I've heard really good things about this one, so I'm excited about it. It's a nice tight cork. We're gonna let that one breathe a minute since the bottle is fresh opened. There is a new episode posting tomorrow, first thing, whatever, 8 a.m. Eastern. It's all set in the can, up on Libsyn, ready to go. So you all will be subject to that, should you choose to be. First thing tomorrow. That is the '2020 Whiskey Retrospective episode. It's a little more structured and a little more inclusive here than this is going to be, but it's ooh, that smells good. That smells really sweet. That smells almost desserty. That's something. I'm gonna like that. I can tell already I'm gonna like that. For those of you who have asked in previous streams or on other various social media, just don't forget there is at barrelhousepodcast.com, there is a link to download a whiskey tasting guide that will kind of give you pointers and beginning notes to start taking your first tasting notes, to give you an idea, a little help on getting started. So that's something I threw together quick. It's not super inclusive. It's not what I use to do notes anymore, but it is a good place to start. It's a good starting point. I'll tell you, this generic 80s workout soundtrack, this particular song really slaps. I like this song. This feels very me. Oh, it's so good. That is really good. That is creamy and thick. Almost no heat on it at all. A lot of brown sugar and cinnamon. I can't taste the finishes of any of these yet. The finishes just disappear for me, and I'm sure that's not this whiskey. I'm sure that is my gimpy taste buds, but glad YouTube is holding up, or seems to be holding up. I had a fight with them to get this thing working. Yeah, it still says connected. That's good. I was worried about that. I mentioned it on the show today, which you'll hear tomorrow, that Ardbeg had announced they've got a 25-year becoming part of their core lineup. And I don't believe there's a price listed. I'm going to bet you it's around $5, which is way out of my price range. But I really hope I can find myself this year. Maybe things will open up a little bit, and I'll be able to find myself in some kind of swanky whiskey bar that'll have some, and I can pay, I don't know, $50 for a glass and try it once. Y'all know I love me some Ardbeg. 25-year, I feel like, would be... Not even really sure how good that would be or what that would be like. I feel like the smoke would dissipate, that smoky intensity would dissipate in that time, but I'm not really sure how much the barrel would strip that. This was another one that was a first for me this year. This is the Lost Distillery Company. And they are a distillery. I don't know how much they really distill or how much they source. I'm not really sure what their deal is. But they try to emulate distilleries that are gone. Then they have a distillery, a product named after each distillery they try to go for. This is the Classic Selection Losset Distillery. And it is, this one in particular is a blended malt made based off of Losset Distillery, which opened in 1817 and closed in 1867. They have peat, almonds, pears, and peppers as tasting notes. 43% alcohol from Islay. It's an Islay Scotch. It's a blend. But this was an interesting one for me because I was able to a point, pick up the influences of some of the distilleries I recognize. The other thing that was interesting about this is instead of being what we typically have now is a lot of sherry cask finished or sherry cask aged scotches, this is port. This is port wine finished, and that gives it a very different dynamic. Port makes a big difference. Port over sherry is a big difference, which is why. And actually, I'm gonna do a little AB here. Not with sherry. I'm gonna do a port and a Pinot Noir finish. Oh, that Calumet is really good. Let me rinse this glass out quick. Let's see how good I can AB with no taste buds. That'll be fun. All right, 2 glasses, A and B. Now, in fairness, I'm not going to try to rank these quality-wise because this Losset is a $30 or $40-ish bottle. That'll be B. And the Ardbeg Black, which is the Pinot Noir finish, is retail about $100, but typically I see it going for $150, $180 because it's not super easy to find. So these are not in the same ballpark price-wise, but I thought they would be interesting to get a look at the port and sherry difference, or the port and Pinot Noir differences. Oh, it's interesting. I don't know a lot about wine, so I'm not really sure what the characteristics of these wines would be on their own. Probably something I should get into a little bit to know, but the Ardbeg is way denser. It is a way more concentrated smell. The nose is much richer, but I'm not sure what I can say is definitely the Pinot Noir versus the port. Although what I will say is there's way more peat in this nose, and the Pinot Noir smell, the wine influence on this finish seems sweeter. There's more fruit and less peat and smoke on this nose. But the fruity influences feel drier, less sweet. Yeah, that bears out. This is way smokier. The Ardbeg is way smokier than the Losset, but it's also a lot sweeter. I think on the Losset, though, I can identify the Ardbeg is definitely more red fruit. Oh, I shouldn't say red. I should say dark. It's got a more like plummy, raisiny kind of thing going on. And the Losset is definitely more like grape, and I think they're right. Pear. I do taste pear. That's an interesting. I wonder. I should get some, like a variety of ports and Pinot Noirs and sherries and try them and see what their influence actually is, because I don't know that I think I can identify a sherry cask finish Scotch, but I don't know that I can really tell what the specific notes from that sherry cask are, because I'm not really familiar with sherry. I mean, that's the whole thing with tasting too, is it is a function of what reference points you have. You will taste things you know. You'll very rarely get a flavor. Your brain will find a thing that you've had before to relate that flavor to. So that's why the tasting notes are so subjective. That Lost Distillery Losset, for the price of that bottle, is really good. I'd rather have this Ardbeg all day, but it's also more than twice as much, so that makes sense. Get a little dump glass going. I don't need to finish everything. Yes, sir. I am still live, my man. For the time being. Probably not for a ton longer, but for a few minutes anyway. For 10, 15 minutes. How you doing tonight, J-Mac? Gotta rinse this glass. Try not to make a huge mess doing it. Yeah, I'm glad you made it too, dude. I was just kind of going over some of the whiskeys I had for the first time this year. A little bit about what I thought of them. Well, what'd you make it with? All right, 2 questions for your old fashioned. Do you use simple syrup or sugar cubes? And what do you like to make it with for whiskey? good, man. I can't do it with sugar cubes. I do not like that grittiness. So, you know, I've been on a kick lately with mine when I make them. And I've been using agave nectar. It's real good. Agave nectar is, flavor profile wise, to me, it's somewhere between simple syrup and a brown sugar syrup. It's not quite as rich as a brown sugar syrup, but it is got a richer, darker flavor than cane sugar does. Almost like honey, but not all the way to honey. It's really good. But it has been my go-to for I usually do like 2 bar spoons of agave, 2 ounces of whatever whiskey I decide to do, 5 dashes of orange bitters, or Angostura, but I've been using orange bitters, and then I give it a twist of orange peel on 1 big ice cube. It's super simple, and it's like a dangerously easy to drink old fashioned. I feel like orange is the choice. I know a lot of people put cherry or muddled fruit or go with lemon for their old fashioned, a lemon wedge or whatever. I think the orange peel is the clear way to go. It's so much better to me. I've never done clear ice either. I've never taken the time to do that. That's an idea. That's a good idea. I bet that's pretty solid. If you're still here, Mike, what's up? How you doing, dude? Yeah, I've seen the cooler in the freezer thing. It just seems like more effort than I'm ever willing to put into it. And I could see where the Cointreau would be very sweet. I'd probably cut the syrup in half or entirely and use that instead. Or use a real strong barrel-proof whiskey to help balance out some of that very sweet sweetness. Yeah. Maybe So if you're not using the orange or syrup with that Cointreau, I would probably, I'd probably stick it with like a 1792 full proof or something, which is a really good, very brown, like very sweet whiskey on its own. But it's also like, I think the one that I have is 136 proof, 141 proof, something like that. I feel like it could handle that sweetness without being totally washed out by it. This water. Yeah, that's water. We should fix that. I had so many whiskeys for the first time this year. I have some over here that are still not even opened that like I should probably open and pour a little out of so they can get their neck pour done with. Yeah, I could see rye. I could see rye being good for that. Rye has a very impactful flavor. I could see that being strong enough to hold up to that sweetness. Oh, 2020 was the year of Compass Box for me. I got introduced to Compass Box this year. I love Compass Box. We're gonna get some peat. We're gonna get some Peat Monster in here. I feel like Compass Box is doing all the hard work, defending the concept of blended Scotch, where you have so many people who think of blended Scotch as cheap, bad Scotch. Right? They will only drink a single malt. It's not a single malt, they're not interested. Right? It's a stigma. And I think that is deserved when you look at what blends are. Like if the only blends I had ever had were like the Johnny Walker line, or I'm trying to think of some other not great blends here, like there's a whole bunch of them and I just don't like them. I don't drink them. But if those are the only blends I'd ever had, I would probably have the same thought process on what a blended Scotch is and how I love peat, man. J-Mac says a buddy of his brought over a Lafroig peated Scotch, and peat just isn't for him. It's not his jam. What I would say, thoughts on that. I'm going to make a whole thing on that right now. Peat presents itself very differently from one area or one distillery to the next. And like I got Josh, Imperial Moonwalker, in the Discord, my co-host on the Film Appraisers. He has had now Ardbeg and Lafroig. And the peat is so different. The smoky peatiness of those whiskeys is so different from one to the other. I would say if you don't like Lafroig, peat might not be your jam. It's possible. You might not like peat in anything. But I would say there's three big expressions of peat smoky Scotch to me that are kind of like the three tips of a trident, right? There's a whole bunch of blends and I don't want to say lesser brands because I don't want to say they're bad because they're not bad. But there's like a peak, right? There's three directions that peat goes in a whiskey to me. Three major directions. And that's kind of why I go with a trident, right? So trident will say you have I'm going to face the camera so this works better. you have the rounded bell curve at the bottom, up to points, and then another one up the middle, right? There's a whole lot of them that sit in the rounded bell curve, the slight one direction, slight another direction, maybe a little bit up the middle one. But I would say that the three big points, as far as my experiences have been Lagerhulen, Lafroig, and Ardbeg. Now, I understand Octomore is a whole different level. I don't even know if I would put it on the Trident. I haven't had it yet, but from description, I don't know. What I would say is Lafroig is very much a iodine, Band-Aid forward, earthy peat. It's my least favorite expression of peat, to be honest with you. I still like it, but it's very abrasive to me. Ardbeg is my favorite expression of peat, which I'm sure all of you will be sick of me talking about Ardbeg before too long because I like it so much. I have a whole rack of Ardbeg right here. Yeah, Band-Aids for days in Lafroig. Ardbeg is way more bacon, campfire, meaty, rich, savory kind of peat smoke. It's way less Band-Aid and iodine, although you will still get some Band-Aid and iodine across the spectrum. But Ardbeg is way more campfire, meat rich to me than Lafroig. And Lagerhulen is a more briny, salty, ashy expression of it. I like Lagerhulen and Ardbeg a lot. Lafroig I think is okay. So I wouldn't base my whole opinion on peat based on Lafroig or on any one of them. I would try to find a way to try the three. If it is within your means and ability to find, I say get an Ardbeg Ugadal or Lagerhulen 16. Those I think are two like pinnacle expressions of Islays, of that peaty flavor. But for some people, I have friends who just cannot hang with either one of them. So, or any three of them. Peat is just not for them. So it's possible you just won't like it. But before I gave up, I would look for those. Compass box. Where I was going with compass box. So this compass box, I think, is actually, I'm not sure if they tell you who it is. I think this is got, I think this might be like Kolila as their main distillery in this blend. But if you AB'd Johnny Walker, which is like a mildly ashy, peaty blended scotch, and this, there wouldn't be in the same, even close, the same ball game. It's like the majors. This is like the majors, and Johnny is like AAA. J-Mac, dude, thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you made it, man. Thank you. Enjoy that old fashioned. This is so much better than anything Johnny Walker has. To my taste, anyway. Johnny Walker feels thin and ashy to me. It's not terrible. It's not undrinkable. It's like those of you who listen to the film appraisers will know my favorite descriptor for things that I don't have a feeling about. It's fine. I had some Johnny Blue here that's gone. It's okay. It's not my jam, but it's fine. I have the only Johnny I currently have here, actually, is one that will never ever be opened. If I can reach past this mic to get it. Such a long reach. This is just Black Label, by the way. So it is peak not good. But this is Johnny Walker Director's Cut. And this is the limited bottling Blade Runner 2049 bottle. And that's just a cool ass bottle, man. It looks so cool. I bought this for MSRP, so I think it was $69. Frequently you can see this. And I just bought it because I'm a big Blade Runner dude. But you frequently, I'm just gonna put this here for now so I don't have to reach all the way over there. You'll frequently see that on secondary for like $600. So I'm just gonna leave that locked up for forever. It'll last forever as it is. And like it'll never be a better whiskey than it is in that bottle. The minute I open it, it gets worse because Johnny Walker Black is just kind of an ashy disaster. I don't know. I can't see who's still here. There's a few of you. Mike, if you're still here, did you get that peanut butter whiskey? You can reply. I know the internet's hard for you. You can reply via text message if you want. I'm just curious if you got it, what you thought of it. Lighter's hot. I can't believe how good a job that little, I mean, it's not that small, but that little air purifier does sucking the smoke out of this room. It's not even hazy in here. And won't be able to smell it tomorrow. I do think I'm gonna have to buy more than 4 rad synthwavy mute songs for the background music while we're doing this. Oh, man, that Peat Monster is so damn good. Oh, hi. Oh, hi, that nerd Jules. Are you being nerdy at the moment? Oh, hi, Mark. I don't know why I would ever, if I didn't have the world's greatest dog, I might never leave the basement. It's too perfect down here. Man, there's so much whiskey and cigar down here. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Other whiskeys from 2020 that I thought were really good. So I have my hard hitter, and I don't have much left. This is my second bottle of it, and I cannot find it anywhere anymore. And it just we just must have just run out. The world ran out. I don't know. And I was gonna save this, but there's almost none left in the bottle. It's another long reach. Hold on. It is nice having a bar this big. It's just rough when you can't reach anything. This is... Oh, this is so good. Look how little is left. That's all the goodness left. I would... Look, if anybody out there has a line on some Elijah Craig barrel proof B520 or C920, hit me up because I am looking. I'm going to pour like a quarter of an ounce because I cannot barrel through what's left. I have to savor what's left of this. I mean, come on. That's so good. It's so good. Fuck. This is like toasted coconut and brown sugar, and I wish my nose was better than it is right now. I wish it wasn't so fucked still from the Rona. Oh, it's so good. Even what little smell I have here for this is borderline miraculous. I love this. Toasted coconut. Or not toasted coconut. Toasted marshmallow. Sorry. I know what I meant. I know what I meant. You should too. It's toasted marshmallow. Brown sugar, cinnamon. It's buttery. It's rich. It's also like, what is this? This is like 127? Yeah, 127 proof. 63% alcohol, 63% and change. 63 point, I can almost read that from here. 63.6% alcohol. It's dense. It's rich and it lingers. That's the most I've been able to taste anything tonight. Damn, that's good. That is so damn good. Man, if I could... If I walked into a liquor store tomorrow and they had 5 bottles of this, I might buy all of them. Of course, the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof has been getting slowly and steadily better with every release, so maybe it's a blessing, because if I bought 5 bottles of B520 or C920, I probably wouldn't feel the drive to find a ABC 921, 521, whatever, the 2021 release. And who knows, maybe they'll be really good. Hopefully they'll be better. Hopefully they'll continue to get better. This is damn good whiskey. Unreasonably good. That is a uncut, straight from the barrel, barrel proof, non-blended. Which is why each release is so different, right? That's the nature of the game. Probably run 10, 15 more minutes. So if any of you, I see there's across platform, there's about 10 of you still floating around. If any of you have any whiskey questions at all, now is the time to get them in, regardless of if you think they're silly or not. Get them in. If you have none, that's fine too. I don't need your stinking questions. And I wonder how... I haven't seen Blazing Saddles in a long time. I wonder how problematic that movie is now. I mean, I know it's problematic, but I wonder if it's funny problematic or like we shouldn't watch this movie anymore problematic. Curious. It's been a long time. I know it had social commentary about how awful white people can be. So that part probably fits pretty well nowadays, but tell you what, next time we do this, I'm bringing a pitcher instead of a glass of water. This is one of like the very few whiskeys I've had ever, not just this year, but ever. And it is a this year release, but this is one of the very few I've had that does not seem to care whatsoever what you are smoking or eating or drinking with it. It tastes basically exactly the same. It holds up to everything. It's actually washing that cigar out. That's a strong cigar. Oh, thank you, Aunt Kina. How you doing? You guys having fun over there? That is such a good whiskey. Damn. Even with a mouthful of cigar, that whiskey is still pleasant and strong. And I should say, it's just shy of 64% alcohol. No burn. It goes down easy. Easy, easy, easy. Unreasonably so, to be fair. Oh man, so I do not like tequila. There is a weird thing. There's a weird flavor to tequila, like a tanginess, maybe. That's the word I want to use. That I'm not I don't find pleasant. I really like mezcal though, which is I think basically just like super smoky tequila. For whatever reason, the strong smokiness in mezcal fits with that flavor profile really well to me. When I buy tequila, the only way I like tequila is in margaritas, and at that point it's so much sweetness and citrus. Like, what are you even tasting? But usually, when I buy tequila to make margaritas, I just get like 1800 silver, or if I'm feeling unnecessarily ritzy, I'll just find some like craft brand, like a smaller brand. But when it comes to mezcal, I'm not really sure how you actually. I really like Del Maguey. Del Maguey is really, I believe that's how you say it. Del Maguey, I think, is really, really good mezcal. All right, I'm ready. Gotta rinse this out. Oh, that's gonna be tough. There's not much left in here. give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna go fill this water glass up because I drank too fast. Drink too much water too fast. All right, I'm back. And I'm using a bar stool. I'm done standing. Oh, this is even framed okay for a stool. Beautiful. I wasn't sure how that would work. All right, I have water, I have glass. I'm probably not gonna be live much longer, but I still have a lot of cigar left, so I'm in no rush to run away. I hate when I go to peel the wrapper off and it just rips. Whatever, it'll come off eventually. Wow, that's a good stick. I like that. So this is a 4 Kicks Black Belt Sublime. This is a great cigar. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites to have with whiskey because it is strong enough to stand up to whiskeys, but it does not overpower them. It doesn't disappear or overpower them, nor mostly. There are some that both ways. There are some that overpower, like it would destroy most Irish whiskeys. And it would disappear behind a lot of barrel proof scotches, smoky scotches, but like Lafroy cast strength kills this, but it's for the most part pretty good. It's easy to pair. All right, so I'm gonna have probably one more, maybe two more splashes. I've been pouring splashes tonight because I don't feel like being destroyed trying to do this. Whoop. Man, there's so much here. You know what I'm curious on, actually? All right. This whiskey I'm going to have next is another this year first, but it is on the wall. So give me 2 seconds to go get it because I can't reach from here. Kat, how's it going? I was thinking about you earlier. It's been a long. I haven't seen you around in a while. How you doing? So this is another 2021st for me, and this is another one of those 2021sts, second bottle. I wish I could find more stuff from these guys local. This is the only bottle I've seen local here. That was a good. I wonder if I can get that again on mic. That's a good cork. This is Iron Root Republic. This is Harbinger. I would love to try some more of their offerings. Like, love to, but I just can't find them. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Kat. I hope things are looking up, though, at least. I've had my ups and downs. I don't know if you saw on the Discord or on the Instagrams. I had the COVID. I'm just getting over the COVID. My taste buds are still all jacked up. But I'm fine otherwise. My taste is coming back. Thank you, Kat. Thank you. Oops. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got this big wooden carved barrel house sign from my mom for Christmas, and it is the coolest thing ever. And the rest of the bar I've been slowly trying to make look like not a disaster. It looks better when I don't pile all of this stuff up right here. This stuff should be over here where you guys can't see it, and I can still reach it. That looks better. Iron Root Republic. Oh, I was getting whiskeys and water for too long. This went out. You've been things looking up for you at all? Things been getting better? I know you said you were struggling a little bit. Hopefully that is like on the upswing. Yeah, I love the sign. My mom nailed it with that sign. She really hit it out of the park. I'm glad you're starting to feel like yourself again. Slowly is better than not at all. The delay on this chat is killing me. I wish I could get that faster, but you know, platforms have platform rules, restrictions. I didn't notice it so bad when I was streaming games, but I guess I was less focused on which is probably why I didn't do so well with streaming games. I was less focused on the chat and more focused on the game. But this is good though. I like this better than streaming games. Streaming games is tough. It's really hard to pay attention to the chat because games are so constant, you know? Oh, man, I think this is like, if I remember correctly, this is Iron Root's like entry level bottle. But it's really good. I would love to see what else they have. Too bad Texas is so far away, right? Oh, that's awesome. Fallen Order is so much fun. I loved Fallen Order. I played all the way through it twice. 3 times. Yes, you can see the label. I don't know if this camera will... Yeah, it doesn't do too bad. Hopefully that was long enough. I don't. So I was talking about this. So here is my sending me whiskey thing. I was talking to a couple of people who asked me to review specific whiskeys, and I mentioned this a little bit in the most recent episode. Well, actually, I shouldn't say most recent. It'll be the most recent tomorrow. The episode that comes out tomorrow, I mentioned this a little bit. The 2020 retrospective episode of the show. It's hard to ask me to review special whiskeys or specific whiskeys. I would love to do all of them. I really hate saying no. And at some point, I'd love to get to all of them, right? But it's hard to buy them all, right? It's hard to, if this is a twice a month show, I cannot justify $200, $300, $400, $500 a month in whiskey for a show that I'm not charging for, don't plan on charging for anytime soon at all, really, ever. And a couple people have mentioned the possibility of sending me whiskeys, which I guess I'm potentially open to. But one, it's not super legal to send. So we'd have to figure out what your comfortability level is, or what their comfortability level is, my Texas connections, in this case, sending things that could come back on them. Then you have to be really careful, package them really well so it doesn't break, because you're usually fine if it doesn't break, but if it breaks, then people might ask questions and it's not legal to send. I know a lot of people send whiskey carefully packaged and declared as artisanal olive oil, which is an idea, I guess. The artisanal olive oil thing works. I have sent people whiskey. I don't know if I should say this on the internet. Whatever, it's too late now. I have sent people whiskey. Doing that. And it has worked. But I don't feel comfortable asking people to. Who knows though? I have 78. I have to do inventory. I have 78 bottles here at a show every other week. That's a lot of episodes. That's a long time. So the timeline of running out of whiskey to review is a long ways away. There is potentially a future in which, for the show to continue, or for me to cover specific whiskeys that people want to hear about. Somebody wanted me to do Johnny Blue, right? I'm not super fond of Johnny Blue. I've had it before. But I'm also not going to buy a $300 bottle that I don't love for the show. I will probably never do Johnny Blue, because a fair review of that. So I could buy it, right? I could buy a 50 milliliter sample bottle, right? But that's not a fair review. The neck pour or those 50 milliliter bottles, those feel really flat. So the neck pour is this part of the bottle here. When you first get a bottle, you drink. Once you drink it down past the neck and let it open up a little bit, get some air mixed into the whiskey in the bottle, let it oxidize a little bit. The whiskey opens up a lot and it settles down and it finds new flavors and it's much better. And you don't get that out of 50 milliliter. So I don't want to do a 50 milliliter episode. The way I will probably do Johnny Blue on the show is buying a drink of it out at a bar when that's a thing again, and do it that way. But I'm not going to buy a $300 bottle, $250, $300 bottle to do for this show. Especially not one I don't like or don't love. So there's potentially a future in order to do those whiskeys where I do start letting people send me bottles. I get a PO box or something, let people send me bottles, or maybe, not immediately, but maybe a Patreon starts so that I have specific whiskey money for the show to buy things that doesn't matter what I buy. Whatever I buy is what I buy because it's for the show and the viewers pay for it. So there's lots of options there. Just nothing soon. I don't think that's a thing I would even consider until the show's. I mean, I do have to say the show has done remarkably well in the first couple months. Like, blew my expectations out of the water in a way I didn't think was possible. But I still think at the rate we're at, I don't see looking at this as a, hey, let's get a Patreon going to support the show because it's expensive for at least like a year, probably. I mean, who knows? Unless the show really takes off, then maybe it's something. I don't know. But at its current rate, what I have here, I don't think that's a immediate future kind of concern. Yes, so that's the other option that I thought about. There's a chain here called Total Wine that you can order online from and have it delivered. So people could buy it online at my local Total Wine and have it delivered to me. That is a third option. Whatever way it works. I'm not at a place where I feel comfortable asking for money from listeners or donations. That's a thing that's going to be a ways out, I think, if ever. But is possible. That's one possible trajectory for the show. Just not soon. That's, that was a thing I considered when I started the show. Luckily I have, because I don't drink a lot, right? This is what affords me the ability to do this show. I don't drink a lot, like quantity wise. I drink frequently, but not a lot. And so having had a couple different services, Flaviar, like Flaviar is one, over the last couple of years, I have acquired a lot of bottles slowly. And I've gone to the store and bought some too, like not just through those services, but between the two, I have acquired a lot of bottles. So they don't drink quickly. I'm not plowing through any of them. So my collection is growing, and that affords me like a 2-3 year cushion. However, that 3-year cushion is largely dependent on just the things I have around here, right? So, harder to find whiskey is I don't have anything expensive here. The most expensive bottle I have here is like $115. That is probably going to be where that limit stays for quite some time. So there's a lot of things that I just won't be able to cover. So who knows? Oh, and thanks, Kat. You are very kind. I think I have benefited from having really good co-hosts up until now, and I see where my weaknesses are doing this show. Doing this all by myself, there's definitely been a learning curve. I've been struggling a little bit here and there. It is hard to fill 15, 20, 25 minutes by yourself without dead air or repeating yourself. I say so much. I feel so bad. Josh edits Film Appraisers, and I started editing Barrel House. I say so much. I cut out like 20 and leave like 30 per episode. I have a ways to go, but I do have genuinely 5 times more downloads a month than I expected to have at this point. So who knows? Maybe this will be a thing in the future. But like I said, this is not charging for this, or even not charging for this. Even having a Patreon to help support this is nothing that's on my immediate roadmap. This iron root is really good. This I believe. Well, I'm testing my memory on this one now. I believe this was a. I believe this was like a $35 or $40 bottle. This would be a great bottle at 60. So I would love to see what their other offerings are like. Yes, I still do it, but I will argue with most of us can't do it. I think many of you could do it. It's just a matter of if you want to. You don't need a bar. You don't need a fancy setup. You could buy a $60 or a $40 USB mic and get started. And I think most people, the thing is you don't have to have any specific talent to do it. You just have to be passionate about something. I haven't had that one, Kat. How was it? I would love if I guess I could look it up. Tenjaku. All right, looking at this. All right, I've seen this. I've seen this bottle before. Sorry, reading a little bit here on your Tenjaku. Corn and barley, mash bill, aged in American white oak. Faint smoke, pear blossom, plum, tinned pears, banana bread, and thick custard, cream yolk. All right, it sounds pretty delicious. I wonder if it's I like the music I picked for this too much. Age 3 to 5 years. Not crazy expensive, but fairly. Do you know, Kat, if you have the Tenjaku blended or the Tenjaku pure malt? All right, cool. I would. So it would cost significantly more than the blended Tenjaku does, but I would love to hear your thoughts on Hibiki Harmony. Oh, that is a amazing blended Japanese. That also comes in possibly the coolest bottle of any bottle I've ever gotten. I hope you're ready for this. I'm going to show you the bottle. I'm going to have a little bit. And I bet you if you found the desire, the will to pony up for it, which is tough. I think it's $80 a bottle. It's a lot. Like the glassware itself is probably worth $30. Oops. Oh, that's right. It's just garbage. Look at this bottle. It's gorgeous. This is a nice bottle, but more so than being a gorgeous bottle, that typically, we'll see, typically makes a fantastic cork sound. It's a real fat cork. Yeah, every time. It's natural cork. I don't love that it's natural cork, but it hasn't failed on me yet. This thing is all honey and dried apricots and fruit. It's so light and lively. I genuinely think that might be the easiest whiskey to drink I've ever had. Like, just, it's so pleasant and easy. Let that go out again. I'm the worst. It is such a good bottle. Like the bottle and the whiskey, like it doesn't miss anywhere. Hits all the way across the board. There is a really, really faint, I can't taste right now because I'm smoking a cigar, but there is a really, really faint ashiness. On that Harmony. Even less than like a Johnny Walker or something. It's very, very faint. But Japanese whiskey is in the Scotch family. Whiskey was brought to Japan through Scotland. So it does have a lot of that Japanese, or it has a lot of that Scotch influence. So it does have, and at the time, almost all Scotch was at least sort of smoky. Which is not true anymore, but at the time sure was. So it does have a pretty faint. It's sort of like all of the rough, malty, smoky notes of a Scotch were turned way down, and the fruity sweetness was all turned up. That is, it's not the most complex. I got a lot of apple that time. It's weird. It's like my taste buds are ruined in a way that the apricot is lighter than normal, but I got a lot of apple that time. So Kat is in, for those of you on YouTube, Kat is in the Twitch chat, and she says she's never had a scotch. And that is such a, I don't want to say loaded statement, but that's a complicated statement because scotch is so diverse now. It is the thing I like most about scotch is how diverse it is. Bourbon is 80% in the same wheelhouse. There are outliers on the good side, outliers on the bad side, but because of the restrictions on bourbon, there's a lot of really common flavors in bourbon that are kind of the defining characteristic of bourbon. I'm not knocking it. I love bourbon, so it's not a bad thing. It's just less variety. Scotch now has so much variety. There's so much variation from one. Oh, the cigar is peeling. There's so much variation. Sorry, I'm off mic. You can't hear me well. There's so much variation from Scotch to Scotch, depending on area. So there are regions in Scotch. There is Highland, Lowland, Speyside, Islay, and Campbelltown. Islay and Campbelltown are your two most aggressive, smoky, meaty, earthy scotches. They're also my favorite regions. Lowland is sort of a earthier. Highland, it's kind of on the way to Highland from Islay. Highland is a sweeter, lighter scotch, and Speyside is sort of a region inside of Highland that is very similar to Highland, but Speysides tend to be more sweeter, more butterscotchy, more candied. They are the easy drinkers of the Scotch family. Before you joined, I talked about a Speyside I had for the first time this year. I'll pull it back down and have more because it's that good. I don't care that I've already had some tonight. I'm gonna dump this. So I'm not trying to get inebriated here. I'm just trying to have a little bit of whiskey. This is Longmorn 16. This bottle is so fancy that it's got a leather band around the bottom so that when you put it down, it's quiet and soft. This is a hard to find Speyside. Get the rest of that Hibiki out of there. So for your first scotch, before I jump into this, I would recommend Speyside to get started. This, before I get into this, which is what I'm going to drink, Monkey Shoulder is a blended Speyside. Give you an idea what it looks like. With a rad bottle. Monkey Shoulder is a blended Speyside. Sweet and easy and malty and light. But depending on region, between $28 and $38 a bottle. Very cheap, very affordable. Very good. And then it is what I give everybody as their first scotch because it is a real easy stepping point. Go easy on the Longmorn. Longmorn is hard to find. It is I'm not sure if they have a parent company or if they are their own distillery. I should look into that. Sorry, hold on one second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Longmorn it's a little bit harder to find. It was, like I mentioned earlier, is regarded as like a distiller's whiskey, right? It's a little whiskey nerdy. It's very complex. It's hard to find. It's 16 years old. It's recently found itself a bigger following, which means it's harder to find because it's not a high output distillery. So, obviously with a newfound popularity and not a huge output, that leads to difficulties supply-wise. It is, though, easily my favorite Speyside that I've ever had. And it is floral, and I have never tasted this much butterscotch in a whiskey. It is almost like a Werther's. You get right up front this big draft of butterscotch followed by honey, and then like a floral bouquet, and then a slightly peppery, like black peppery finish. From what I understand, so this is the new bottling where they have started outputting more in order to keep up with demand a little bit. Still hard to find, still about $100 a bottle. I think about 80. What I understand is the old bottling was very superior, but it's impossible to find. The new bottling, still really hard to find. I've only ever seen this one bottle. And I bought it because I was like, oh, I've never seen that before, and I know it's hard to find. I'm going to buy it. And it sat on this shelf for months, and then I finally opened it on my birthday. I was like, I can almost taste a little bit again. I'm going to have a fancy whiskey. And I could sort of taste it, but as my taste comes back, I like it a little more every time. It is an impressively delicious whiskey. I really cannot wrap my head around how much butterscotch is in that. So I've got my little dump glass here that I'm going to work on. I'm not going to dip into any new bottles. And I'm going to hang out until the dump glass is gone, or the cigar, whichever one comes first. This is weird. This is like a little bit of everything I've had tonight. Oh, it's actually amazing on the palate. Huh, wow, that's really good. It's all that sweetness and butterscotch and fruit from the hibiki and the Longmorn mixed with peat and smoke from the couple of smoky scotches I had earlier. Oh, this is really good. Yeah, me too. Sometimes when you have a little bit of mix there, it turns out horrible. Listen, it's possible that there is some off-putting note in there that I can't pick up because of my taste buds, but that doesn't super matter because I could never recreate this because I don't actually know what's in here. And right now, it tastes amazing, especially with this cigar. It's a sweetness that really matches well with this. Spoiler for tomorrow's episode. The worst whiskey I had this year was Proper 12. I highly recommend it that nobody ever buys Conor McGregor's whiskey. It's bad. It's just not good. Doesn't make sense. It's about the same price as Jameson and half as good. Oh yeah, you would hate it. Knowing your whiskey preferences, you would hate it. It's a I'm gonna be honest. I hope you like the episode tomorrow. I was really hoping to get back to reviews for tomorrow, but like I say in the show, I don't feel like it's okay to review whiskey with my mouth as bad as it is. So hopefully it comes back soon. Worst case, I do have tasting notes for whiskeys I've had over the year. I do tasting notes on every whiskey I try when I try it the first time, typically. So I do have notes that I could do episodes based on, but I prefer to do shows based on where my palate is at the moment. Up to date kind of tasting notes. But worst case, I can rely on those if I have to. Thanks, Kat. Always one of my biggest fans. I don't deserve it. With that, though, cigar is done, and dump glass empty, so I'm going to call it for the night. This was going to be like a 25-minute test stream, but I had a really good time hanging out with you and the people who were here earlier. Super active. It was really fun. So I'm going to try, so you know, to do this at least once a month. The original idea was to do one on the week there wasn't an episode, in preparation for the episode to come. I don't know. I started to think about that more and thought maybe I shouldn't double dip on every episode like that, but I will be doing one at least once a month. The target though is twice a month. Just something to hang out and enjoy. So they should be twice a month. They should be a pretty decent time. I had a great time tonight. And Kat, late or not, it's always fantastic to see you. I'm really glad you made it, even if it was for the second half. So like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all, whiskey or podcast related, you can find me wherever you are right now. Also at Barrelhouse Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me Barrelhouse Pod on Twitter. BarrelhousePodcast.com has links to merch and all the places you can hear the show. Live.barrelhousepodcast.com will have links to all the places you can watch the live streams when they happen, and I intend on getting a schedule put up there somehow. I haven't figured that out yet. In the future, I hope for these live streams to also be on Instagram, but that is difficult. That requires some third-party software to get Instagram to let you do that. So that's going to be a thing for the future. But with that, also email barrelhousepodcast@gmail.com. That is where you can reach me with any of your stuff. If you rate, review the show, you will get your review read on an episode. If you email in with a question, sooner or later you will get your question answered on the show also. So please, all of you, jump onto those various places, check me out. And I appreciate you stopping by today. Or if you're watching this later on, if you're sitting through this, whatever this was, a couple hours here, later on YouTube or Twitch on the video on demand area. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for stopping by. And I will check you guys all out later, probably 2 weeks. We'll say probably 2 weeks. Maybe before then, we'll see how things bear out. This may be more often while we're still in 2021 early Rona days. So we'll see how this goes. But thank you so much for stopping by. And I will talk to you guys all later. Take care.